Okay, The Economist has updated their prediction model for the 2020 election, and it shows that Donald Trump has only a 4% chance of winning re-election. Just a couple of days ago, I posted a video titled Donald Trump has already lost the election. And a lot of people felt that I had jumped the gun. You know, they worried about the 2016 polling errors. And this economist model has actually increased Joe Biden's chances to 95% of winning election. And so let's take a look at some of the numbers in detail. Let's show why The Economist is so certain that Joe Biden is going to win the presidency. And let's see if there's any hope for Donald Trump in the margins. Okay, let's take a look at the estimated electoral votes for each candidate. The Economist estimates that Joe Biden will get 352 electoral votes to Trump's 186, which would be a landslide election victory. Now, unlike 538, which simulates 40,000 election, The Economist simulates 20,000 elections. And you can see varying vote shares and varying outcomes for the election. So the median is right around this 350 vote margin or so to 319. And of course, and there are a bunch of scenarios in which Biden wins election, but it's a closer margin. And there are very few outcomes which gives Donald Trump a victory. So here's where we can look at the model's prediction and say, okay, well, how are they coming up with Trump only having a 4% chance of victory? Well, let's take a look at a state like Texas, for example, which is a toss-up in a lot of models, and in recent polls is very, very close, right? But if you take a look at the Economist model for Texas, it gives Donald Trump a 74% chance of winning. So they're taking in factors based upon likely voters, based upon turnout in Texas historically, etc. So they're not just looking at the polls. So taking everything into consideration, they believe that Texas will go towards Donald Trump 74% of the time. Now, why do I say that? Okay, it's important because what if Texas was the other way, right? If Texas were, say, 74% Biden, you might see a huge probabilistic swing towards Biden. And that is true for two states in this model. Two states are really swinging the model heavily towards Joe Biden. And those states are Florida and Pennsylvania. So let's take a look at Florida first. So Florida has a 4 in 5 chance of going for Joe Biden in the Economist model. Why is that so important? Because in almost every political model that you'll find, if Joe Biden wins Florida, he's almost a 99% chance of becoming president. So the fact that Biden is 79% likely to win Florida wildly swings the Economist forecast towards Joe Biden. And this is coupled with another state, Pennsylvania. In Pennsylvania, Biden wins 93% of the time. And in most scenarios, Donald Trump, in order to win re-election, has to win both Florida and Pennsylvania, or some combination of winning Florida along with winning 2 other Rust Belt states, right? Now, if we take a look at the other Rust Belt states, so Joe Biden has a 99% chance of winning, 93% chance of winning Pennsylvania. He has a 97% chance of winning Michigan, 96% chance of winning Wisconsin, and a 98% chance of winning Minnesota. So all of that shows why The Economist has Joe Biden as a 95% chance of winning the election. So if we take a look at the turning point probability for the election, you can see the 2 states that are most important and that has the most odds of swinging the election one way or another are Pennsylvania and Florida. So Pennsylvania has a 31% chance of being a tipping point. So the winner of Pennsylvania is probably going to win the election in a lot of scenarios, right? But there are very, very few scenarios in which the person losing both Pennsylvania and Florida wins the nomination. That's why those two states are so important in 2020. So let's go over to the 538 forecast to kind of see what are the differences. Why is 538 more favorable to Trump than The Economist? And we can start by showing that in 538's model, Biden has an 87% chance of victory and Trump has a 12% chance of victory. And we can actually look at the odds of winning Pennsylvania. So if we look at the probability of winning Pennsylvania in the 538 forecast, which is the deluxe model, Joe Biden only has an 85% chance of winning Pennsylvania. So those extra odds in favor of Donald Trump in the 538 model, along with Florida, Donald Trump has an even better chance of winning according to the 538 model because he has like a 1 in 3 chance of winning the nomination. So, so in 538's model, it's conceivable that Donald Trump could win Florida a third of the time, and he could win Pennsylvania, about a fifth of the time or so, right? In some weird, so what is the odds of that? Well, it's about 13%. Is that it actually really comes down to two states. This entire election, we can forget about Arizona. We can forget about Wisconsin, North Carolina, even Iowa and Ohio. It doesn't really matter. The Pennsylvania, Florida is probably going to determine the election. There are scenarios in which Biden wins Texas or Ohio, for example, right? And that can skew things. But for the most part, those are the two states that are determining these models' percentages. But either way you want to slice it, whether or not you're using, in this particular case, the more conservative model of 538 or the more aggressive economist model, either way, Donald Trump is in big, big trouble. Another reason that explains 538's forecast giving Donald Trump a little bit more credit than probably the polls dictate are these outlier polls that have been coming out. And what I mean is, let's take a look at Florida. So we can just take a look at some of the recent polls from Florida. Let's see. Rasmussen gave Trump +4. And so Rasmussen's +4 actually goes into the model, and it goes into the aggregate of all the polls, and it influences 538's model. Now, 538 does take into account that Rasmussen is only a C+ pollster, because Rasmussen has showed themselves to be biased for the GOP in the past. But the fact that this is included in the aggregate. So let's say, for example, we were to remove all the C and only rely on B polls, right? We can see that there are no polls in the recent in the past week that shows Donald Trump leading in Florida. There are no B+ pollsters or above showing Donald Trump leading in Florida, right? So depending on which polls you're using, so if you're using all the polls, like the SurveyMonkey poll, which is an online, the methodology is like a really poor methodology that gives Trump +1. It doesn't really matter what SurveyMonkey says because, it's not determinative. It's not like a real poll. But even that is included unless you go and you filter by the pollster grades. So anyway, I think that explains why, if you're just leaving the model as is. Now, 538's model does take into account biases and liberal biases too, not just conservative biases. But that may be one reason to explain why 538 gives Donald Trump 12%, whereas The Economist gives Biden only, Donald Trump only a 4% chance of winning the nomination. So we are running really, really short on time. Donald Trump has about a week left in order to convert a 4% chance of winning the presidency into 100% chance of winning the presidency by getting more electoral votes than Joe Biden. And looking at the map, I mean, I have no idea how if he's really underwater by 90% in all of these states and all of the Rust Belt states, it's over. There's no way that he can win, because he could run the table on all the other toss-up states and all the lean states. Even if Donald Trump won Arizona, Florida, North Carolina, Ohio, and Iowa, but he loses these 4 states, then Joe Biden becomes president. So, yeah, I mean, I would love to hear your comments below. Tell me why you think these numbers are wrong. Tell me, do you have any other information or just your gut, by being out there in America and your gut tells you that that Donald Trump is going to win. So please comment below, hit like and subscribe if you haven't already, and tune in, because I am going to continue to update on the election until November 3rd. Okay, bye-bye for now.